Hey everyone, it's Big Germ here. I'm with Eagle McMahon and Simon Lizotte. We're heading into the second round at the Waco Charity Invitational Open. And looking forward to having a really fun round and love this course. What do you guys think about it?
I think you sound really excited. I like it.
I tend to sound really pumped up. The only difference with this hole and the drone shot is that they have the wall down there by the woods, which is out of bounds. So I'm trying to throw a forehand that if it does get a little away from me, I'm trying to keep it low so that if I do get a skip or anything like that,
Whoa.
yeah, well, watch where it lands. Not bad.
Whoa.
Not bad.
Make an outside the circle putt right there.
Well, we'll see.
You might be the only right-handed thrower who chooses a sidearm on this hole and goes low and straight.
Eric Oakley probably does.
Low and straight?
Yeah.
You know what that's called?
Why not try easy hyzer? You make this hole so hard.
It's called Kolinging.
Oh.
Yeah, when you throw a sidearm on a wide open, obvious hyzer, it's called Kolinging. And this is James told me this is the second time that he hit the hillside and jumped up and out of bounds of that hill.
That's not supposed to happen.
No, it's supposed to roll back down towards the basket.
That's why the hill's there.
That's exactly why the hill's there.
James Conrad on lead card. That's something special.
It's not that special. That kid's awesome. He just hasn't been on tour long enough for people to see how good he is, man. You're going to see this round. He's got a lot of really good shots. And
How old is he?
He's in his mid-20s. Maybe I don't know if he's closer to 30 or not, but yeah, he's been playing the game for a long time.
Whoa.
That's why we throw the low sidearm, everyone.
Hey, Jerem, I like your putters.
Oh, I got him from this guy who's sponsored by Discmania.
Eagle McMillan?
Igor McManahan.
Igor McMahon. It's the second day in a row James started off with a circle 3, but you know.
That's the good thing about this hole. Like, if you throw it out by the basket, you're probably going to get a 3.
Yeah.
Look, the wind died for you guys. That's weird.
Yeah, no wind.
Yeah, no wind at all the whole round. It was just completely. No, we get a lot of wind coming up here. We were told that it was going to be a lot calmer day 2, and actually it seemed to be the opposite. Did you guys have more wind day 2 than you did day 1?
Definitely. Day 1, we felt a little bit of wind when we're on the more open holes, but when we got to the back, it was virtually nothing.
Yeah.
But I actually kind of picked up some wind reads on the back where it was wooded, and was definitely feeling some wind coming through those tunnels.
The hardest shots, I think, are windy wind shots. Or windy
wind shots.
Yeah, windy wind shots. Oh man, that's going to be quoted. Windy tunnel shots. You know, when you're in the woods, and you know, that's when I like to throw the flippy discs. And if I can't,
that was a great shot.
Thank you. Yeah, this was fun. You know, I hadn't played with Dave Feldberg in a couple years because of his injuries that he was having last year, and so it was nice to finally see Dave in the same card again. And you know, he didn't play as well as he would like, but he's always there. You know.
How do you feel? I mean, you've led a couple tournaments, but if you're one ahead of Ricky, I don't know how often I've been there, but if I'm one ahead of Paul or Rick, I'm just not comfortable whatsoever.
No, if I'm 5 ahead of Rick, I'm not comfortable. I had a true story at the tournament that I played last weekend in Texas, but back in 2014, I had 9 strokes on Ricky with 18 holes to go, and he tracked me down. He tied it up in the last hole, and he ended up beating me in a playoff, and it was like one of the most demoralizing losses ever.
I remember you said you played to not lose and not to win.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a completely different strategy. You know, instead of playing your shots, you're focused on what they're doing and not focused on what you're doing. So, you know, when I have one stroke on Ricky or Paul or, you know, you or Eagle or any of the players who are out there, you know, and you know that they have that firepower, you're really just trying to focus on each shot. If you're focused on what they're doing, then you're going to lose focus on your shots, and then you're going to throw shots away.
You throwing the Sexton Firebird right now?
I throw a lot of Sexton Firebirds. It's one of my absolute favorite discs in my bag right now. And that was my first putt miss inside the circle this tournament, but it seemed like we all had putting woes on this hole.
You know what the
Whoa.
good news is? You almost made it.
Oh God.
I mean, it was a pretty good putt.
Yeah, Ricky almost made that one too.
What?
Yeah, there was a couple of these this round that really were uncharacteristic for Rick. And you could see he was pretty frustrated, but he handled it well. I've seen Rick get a lot more upset about missed putts, which I think he deserves. Being what I would say the best putter in the world, consistently. I think he's proven that for a few years now.
Putting must feel so easy to him that whenever he misses it must feel horrible.
Yeah, I try to think about that sometimes. Like if I made 99% of my putts, what would that 1% feel like? I like to keep it at like 80, 85% just so I'm not always surprised. But yeah, if you were to expect every single one to go in when it finally didn't, would you just like lose your mind? He's doing a good job holding it together right now.
Yeah. I'm like the complete opposite. Whenever I make it, I feel surprised.
Star par on that hole.
Yeah, that's not a good score. That's a hole you want to come out with a 3 every time.
It's a good par 4.
It's a good par 4, but we all had drives that were in position to get our 3, and none of us capitalized. So having 3 shots inside the circle after the second shot and no one capitalizing was a bit surprising.
This hole, you have many different options. I'm kind of excited to see what everyone takes. Looks like you're going for what we called Eric Oakley sidearm yesterday.
Why is he getting credit for this? This is something I've been doing for way more years than he's been playing.
Is that absolutely parked?
Yeah, that was pretty close.
Ricky taking my line.
the 90% of the open field line is now the Simon line.
That's my line too.
Yeah.
Ow!
What?
Ooh.
And yeah, so he gets that second kick, and someone in the gallery said, "Nice kick." I'm sure Dave was not trying to hear that at that time.
It's a pretty nice kick though.
James, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see the disc here or not, but it was. He threw it way high, and then I was expecting. We had a kind of a right to left headwind. I was expecting to see that thing go out to circle 2, and I think it hit some limbs and dropped down just short of the circle.
What's James' sponsor?
He's sponsored by Innova.
Okay.
And he's from Virginia, and he's a really, really good putter.
Is that AVRs?
Yeah, he's putting with JK AVRs.
I used to putt with those.
He's the coolest kid around, man. You see that guy walk, you're just like, that guy is cool.
Swag.
He's just swag. Yeah. James has been one of my good buddies for the last couple of years now. We've got to know each other a lot better.
This is actually the first time I've seen him play. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't even picture his form or putt, so I'm kind of...
Oh, he's got a wild form. When you get out into the last couple holes in the long shots, you're going to see him throw his whole body into the throws. It's really cool to watch him play. If you see him on an open course, he has this dance that he like runs up to the tee pad. It's really cool. He puts everything he has into his shots. He's got a lot of power. He can throw 550 easily.
Best hole on the course.
Best hole on the course right here.
I really like this hole. I don't know if you guys are just... It sounds like you guys are being a little facetious. I actually think this reminds me of back home in North Carolina. And this reminds them nothing of Germany or Colorado. So this is...
No.
I'm back home, and these guys are like, what the heck are we doing here?
Sidearm?
Do you know who you're talking to?
What
Yeah.
disc is that?
Oh my
Koling, and if I hadn't hit that tree...
You could park this hole.
I think that could be happening today. Yeah, I was jump putting after day 1 and on round 1. Here I just got a little bit too wide, and so did Ricky.
Where he is, that's like almost just a pitch out back to the fairway.
You'd think, but then that's Ricky Wysocki, so maybe we'll see something a little bit different. That's textbook.
Is James throwing a putter? Or...
Absolutely, he loves his putters. He's one of the best putter throwers you'll ever see. He goes to it quite a bit for placement.
Dave looked like he's throwing some sort of driver.
Yeah, he likes to do that on tunnel shots. I think he's a little bit more comfortable with the fairway driver rim width than with anything else. Yeah. And that's what this hole does. If you are off the fairway a foot and you can't quite get a comfortable swing, that's what happens. You're gonna be playing army golf, left, right, left, right.
Is this the Ricky Tommy?
I didn't see the point of that, but he got far enough to, have a shot at his up and down for 4. So
It's really all you can ask for on this hole.
yeah, 4 is a good score on this one.
Just learning that course management, knowing where to go aggressive and not to go aggressive.
Had a very strange bush in my way. And that's about as good as I could really pull out from there.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean,
What?
yeah, Dave was.
Is that safe?
I think he just stayed safe because he.
Sky roller?
I didn't even know that there was a sidewalk there.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to know there's a sidewalk there.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see, man, if you're off the fairway just a little bit on the back 9, it's punishing. And I know that we probably share different thoughts about this, but I think that one of the parts of the game that we don't use enough in disc golf is tightly wooded courses, and especially not on on tour. And that's for a lot of logistical issues. You can't quite fit a gallery down the tunnels, and you can't film it quite as well. But this is a skill that needs to be showcased. This is a skill that needs to be implemented in our tournaments, in my opinion, because this is about controlling your discs down a tunnel, and that's where disc golf used to be. And as we've evolved into a bigger sport and more coverage, we do a lot more open stuff because it makes more sense logistically. But this place is really punishing off the fairways. If your shot is off, you have to pitch out or go with some sort of Ricky line over the top tomahawk. This is one of those tunnel shots that it's right there in front of you, and you step up to it and you're thinking this is a must make, but although it says it's 264, it probably plays another 30, 40 feet further than that just because of the uphill nature of the shot.
I feel like it plays shorter.
Do you? Well,
It feels like you barely have to throw it and it just glides all the way up the hill.
You're also one of the 3 people in the 900 club, so everything feels a
I'm
little
in the
bit shorter.
1,000 club.
Okay, you're one of the 2 people in the 1,000 club. Dang, I forgot about that. It's so stupid to hear.
What are you throwing here?
This is the Eagle L that I got from Richard Kielander, and just a little bit too fast. I'd like to have a mid-range that I was comfortable on that line, and I'm working with a couple different things right now, but that Eagle L has been a lifesaver for me. It has been just the most comfortable flip-up, fly-straight disc I've thrown in a long time. So I'm going to be using it a lot on this course. And this right here, that was incredibly lucky to bounce out. I thought for sure when I saw the disc come out of his hands that he was going in, and he got the world champ love right there. And I even thought that he was walking up to the lie. I was thinking, Dave's going to make this putt, and he's going to get the most improbable 2 ever.
Wow.
That was a good feeling putt right there. Oh, there you go. There's the athleticism.
James right from Circle's Edge, it looks like.
I really like his putting style.
Yeah,
He has something unique. He straightens his arm and then puts it down. And it looks
His
smooth.
putt looks like just one linear motion.
Yeah, when he pushes through, when he does the hit of the putt, it's all one motion that's going forward. I've seen James get hot with the putter to the point where it's like he just has that I don't know, the East Coast spin putt that he just can jam it, man. It's not necessarily spin always, but he just has this really straight, aggressive attack putt that's just awesome.
Definitely don't see that on the West Coast.
No?
East Coast spin putt.
Oh yeah. The West Coast, you got those hard packed ground like De La. You better push putt, otherwise you're gonna be rolling.
Another sidearm hole.
Yeah, or tomahawk or thumber. I think I've seen Does the eagle throw a thumber?
It hasn't worked though.
It hasn't worked.
You said you think it's the shot. I really disagree. I don't think
it
it's
is
the
the
shot at all.
but I'm just throwing it really badly.
This is the shot. This is the shot. If you have this is the shot.
I threw a backhand turnover on it.
I think I'm
and
going to do
parked
that
it yesterday.
today.
Just a gentle fade. Another North Carolina wooden hole. Just bring me back home, you know. You don't get to play many tournaments back in North Carolina on tour, and that's how you do it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great shot track.
Or Virginia, you know, bring you back to Virginia.
I feel like there's a song about that.
Take me home, Country Road. That's West Virginia.
Close enough.
No, it's a completely different world.
It is.
West Virginia is a lot different than Virginia. This was the first par 3 that I had parred. Going from first round to second round. I got all of them first round.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Is
crazy.
that like 8 twos?
I had 7 twos the first round. I don't know if you count. Yeah, according to what they called pars, I birdied all the par 3s first round. And I was thinking on the tee pad, I was like, after I made that good putt on the hole before, I was like, man, I got all the par 3s still. And then hit the first tree that was really in the way.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
never
happens.
good to think about that.
No, don't think about these things, everyone. Think about what you want to do. Don't think about what you've already done. Or don't think. If you can
Don't think.
Yeah, if you could just have no thoughts, that would be perfect. What do you guys think about this one?
This hole is just all about the tee shot. If you can throw the softest shot ever and get an easy birdie.
Yeah.
It's not really worth attacking, I think. I've seen some people attack it with a sidearm. You can get it there all the way.
Yeah.
I've practiced it throwing my PD just straight at it all the way, but you just want to hyzer it out to the field, and then it's a pretty simple upshot from there.
Yeah.
Just like that. He didn't get that much distance off the tee, but if you're in the open field, you pretty much just have a straight mid or putter shot.
Right.
And James right there, if he made the Mando, he might still have a chance at it.
Yeah, he made the Mando. He kicked out into the open. He's going to have a look at it. And I actually, in practice, put my Champ Strike, which is one of my brand new favorite discs in my bag. I put it right at the bottom of the steps and made the putt for 2. So I'm attacking this hole. I'm trying to get a look at it. It says it's 462. I think it's more like 420.
Yeah.
I don't know how they come up with that distance, but
It's shorter than it says.
absolutely. There's James showing his straight game off. He's just,
Nice.
I think that was a mid-range that time. I think he threw a rock there, but he throws putters up to 350 feet in tournaments.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know somebody else that throws putters really far.
Who's that?
Avery Jenkins?
Yeah.
David Wiggins.
That was silky.
Yeah,
Smooth.
that's really, you just want to get in the upper shelf if you can.
This is one of the par 4s that feels really bad to get a 4 on.
Yeah, I forward this one the first round, and I was not happy about it. This is one that you can get a 3 from a lot of different spots. Ricky had a really difficult putt. He looked at that thing for a while, and man, that was a really great shot. I thought for sure he was going to make it, considering all the time he was taking looking at it. That's a solid death putt.
Yep, same one Ricky had 2 days ago. It's short but scary.
Yep. You miss that right side or left side or hit the cage, and you're looking at a 5.
Dave with the birdie.
I like it anytime where you can have a little dip like that right before the green. I think that's kind of fun. Any sort of undulating ground like that, I think, is always kind of cool. One of my favorite shots in the game is over a valley, back up to a basket up on the hill. So I think that's always really cool. If you can implement that into your course design, that's always fun to throw.
Scores 17, 16, 15, 11.
It's a good
Nothing
battle.
really changed, just you all got a little more under par.
Yeah. That's right.
This hole. It's
Yeah.
the shortest hole on the course, but somehow it mentally is tough for me.
Well, what you have this little shelf right here, right before the basket, that if you get over that shelf, you're going pretty far past it. And if you hit that shelf, you're coming up 35 feet short. So it's real touchy. And
That's what I do. That's why both rounds. Just
Yeah.
early release, too scared to throw it. And I had to save my 3 both times. I made a 60-footer yesterday to save a 3.
Wow.
You can't even really count this as a 2 at all. You just kind of have to close your eyes and throw.
You can't count this as a 2?
No.
As a must-get? Oh, I look at this one and I say this is something I have to put close. But this suits my game. This length for mid-range forehand is like, this is my bread and butter.
Oh, that's
Pretty good.
Yeah, and Ricky just kind of tries to go for the cameraman
See, that's
and
a
play
great
the
shot,
backboard.
but he might have a little trouble right there.
Yeah, you're 20 feet long, 25 feet long, and that's not an open putt.
No,
He's
not
going to
at
have to work for it.
So you running this?
And this is a layup all day. Or, yeah, he's running it. But it looks,
Probably,
That was a little kind
yeah,
of
it was a kind of a half run.
Dave had a good angle there because he didn't really have to worry about the slope too much.
This was the hardest thing I've done in a long time. I really wanted to run that putt, but you can see that ground just slopes right away, and there's no need to go for that one.
Rick to tie. Did you know you were tied now?
I wonder what Rick's thinking when he's playing. I think a lot of time,
I think nothing.
I think that might be one of his greatest strengths. I
agree.
I think
totally
that
agree.
his ability to just kind of focus on the next shot is one of the things that has made him so good. A lot of us get caught up in situational stuff and know about scores and all that. And I think that Ricky's way more concerned on what he's about to do. And I think that's one of the things that, is a huge advantage. If you can do that, if you can somehow get into that zone, it's going to be very helpful.
This is my favorite hole on the course.
I feel like, Simon, you're making things up again.
It's my favorite hole too.
I birdied it twice.
I actually, again,
Completely different ways.
I really like this hole, but I think it's a par 4. It's a 2 good shots get you into the green, but they're not even 2 long
It's
shots.
a germ par 4. Everyone else
I haven't seen a single 3 on that hole yet.
I threw the first round. With
This
a
hole-
200-foot approach.
It's definitely a par 5 for me.
Is it really?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I say that, and you guys are about to see what I'm about to do. So,
That looks pretty good.
yeah, that's pretty much perfection. I mean, you can't put that really in a much better spot unless it doesn't hit that tree.
The cool thing is if you hit those 2 trees way down there, then you have like a over-the-top sky sidearm or anhyzer shot, which is actually not as risky.
Yeah, there's like 3 shelves there. Like, ideally, I like the second shelf because I can throw a big turnover or a sidearm over top. There's a little open piece of sky there that's just waiting for you.
And that's really the distance that you're looking for right there. If you can get anywhere near that hillside, it should be pretty easy to pitch up and around and get your 4 for.
This hole, it really doesn't matter how far you get. It matters where you are. If you're in the fairway, you're doing great.
Yeah, exactly. Ricky, I wasn't surprised to see him lay up there, but he went across the fairway and is leaving himself a tough shot.
That's one of the most frustrating things you can do is when you scope out a layup,
Of course.
and you
I thought that shot was under the basket, and I was really surprised to see where it ended up.
when you overshoot a layup trying to go aggressive on the layup shot. That is the most frustrating thing ever to do, in my opinion.
And this is the anhyzer over the top shot you guys were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He just threw a little bit too high, and it kind of came backwards at the peak of the throw.
Is that Dave's second shot?
That's Dave's second shot. His drive was way down the fairway, and he set up for the long look at eagle 3 and real easy birdie. I thought Rick, he I don't know if you could see much there in the camera there, but he caught a lot of limbs there and went right through, no problem, which is fortunate because you catch any of those things, you come back in the woods and it's trouble. Great tomahawk, and he's just about 3 or 4 feet in front of me, which is a pretty big difference, as you'll see here in a second. I thought that I was going to be 20 feet from the pin. And this is what happens a lot of times on these greens. You're just in the thick. And I just try to go.
Oh.
I try to be somewhat not aggressive. I try to be somewhat safe. And Feldberg told me it hit Ricky's disc and hit a tree and then rolled. And yeah, so instead of putting for 4, now I'm just tapping in for 6. And Ricky,
Definitely should be a par 4.
I still think it's a par 4. I think I took a double bogey there, but that's just me.
If they labeled it as a par 4, I would understand, but
That was just a solid putt. Great low ceiling, nose up. That's a bonus putt right there. I mean, you could see it justified as a par 4.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
I see how it's a par 5 as well.
yeah. I didn't take too much time there. wasn't really pleased. I really was surprised to see my disc was outside the circle there. I thought I was trying to lay up. I wasn't trying to go that aggressive, but looking at the camera, it looks like it came out way faster than
That was a front 9.
Front 9. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the back 9.